in terms of affirmative messaging, it always resolves down to the culture war at long last. How do you stay out of that minefield?
Well, I've always had two simple rules for political communications. Sometimes we overthink this stuff. My two rules are be yourself and tell the truth. And
Yeah.
I've found a lot of success with doing those two simple
Mhm.
things. So my faith is central to who I am. It's why I'm in public service, not just in elected office. I started my public service career as a
Right.
middle school teacher on the west side
Mhm.
of San Antonio. And I signed up to do that difficult job because I am called to love my neighbors, especially the least of these. And so I'm not going to shy away from that part of my life. I have to be who I am, whether that rubs people the wrong way in my own party, or causes people to be upset on the other side. I've got to be honest about why I'm in this
Right.
and why I'm running. That said, I'm very cognizant of how organized religion has hurt a lot of people, and people have a lot of
Sure.
religious trauma, religious baggage, and I want to be sensitive to that. And I try to be very inclusive in how I talk about this, to include other faiths, to include my agnostic and atheist friends,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, there are a lot of agnostics and atheists who are more Christ-like
Sure.
than Christian politicians in this country. But to your second question, I'm going to tell the truth about why these culture wars are at the front of our national conversation.
I think it's interesting. I've been in this race for 5 days and I've had a lot of interviews with national media. No one's ever asked me about the cost of housing. No one's asked me about the cost of prescription drugs. No one's asked me about the cost of childcare. The only thing the media wants to ask me about are trans athletes. And so what I would say is that the only minority destroying this country is the billionaires. Trans people are 1% of the population. Undocumented people are 1% of the population. Muslims are 1% of the population. We are all focused on the wrong 1%. Trans people aren't taking away our health care. Undocumented people aren't defunding our schools. Muslims aren't cutting taxes for themselves and their rich friends. It's the billionaires and their puppet politicians. And so we need not only the media, but all of us to focus on the real problem at hand.
The very powerful people, the billionaires who control our social media algorithms, who control the cable news networks, who control the politicians who are fighting on our screens, they want us to be at each other's throats. They
Sure.
want us focused on how we're different instead of on how we're the same, which I believe we're all much more the same than we are different at the end of the
Mhm.
day. And so I'm going to call that out. I believe in treating voters like they're adults. I believe in shooting straight with them. And I think they are sophisticated enough to understand how they're being played. And so I'm going to be very honest about that. I started in our launch video talking about how we're
Mhm.
being divided by the people at the top. And I'm going to continue to call that out when they try to push culture war fights on all of us.